Can I show you this view? Look at that. And that is a 10 times zoom. So I'm just outside London right now, South London. Okay, that might not be true. I'm actually in Yunnan province in southwest China, testing this. This is the new OPPO Find X9 Ultra. And they're very proud of this, particularly the camera. The best bit though, is that this is no longer just China only, unlike the previous Ultras. You and I can buy one of these. So OPPO may have just made not only the best camera phone, but also the best phone ever. And I don't mean that in some annoying YouTuber clickbait way. It has the most advanced camera system ever in a phone, along with the latest Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 chip, a huge 7,050 mAh battery, a gorgeous new design, I mean just look at this thing, and a whole lot more. So I've teamed up with OPPO to give you a full walkthrough of the X9 Ultra, tell you what I like, a couple of things that could still be improved, and also just show you some of the unbelievable photos and videos I've taken on this phone. Over the past few years, it's been so frustrating to test and review the Ultra phones, but never actually being able to buy one because they were China only. So I'm very excited for the X9 Ultra having a proper global launch, and from what I'm told, basically the same markets that the excellent X9 Pro launched last year. So as it says on the tin, this is the Ultra. This is their tippy top, all singing, all dancing, cherry on top flagship phone. And as you can probably tell from the photos and B-roll so far, I have not just been testing this at the studio. This is Shangri-La in China, and I never expected to come to a place like this in my lifetime. It's just incredible to be here by myself without anyone else. It really isolated, just getting these really unique photos that no one else is getting. Completely alone. It's incredible. So let's talk about this camera. That is the real highlight here, because we have 5 cameras on the back. We've got a main, an ultra-wide, a 3x telephoto, and we're also getting the world's first 10 times 50 megapixel optical zoom with this second telephoto. The same zoom as the X9 Pro from last year with its Hasselblad teleconverter lens, which by the way, there is a new, even bigger version for this X9 Ultra, although I haven't had a chance to test that just yet. OPPO has achieved this through an industry-first, let me just check my notes, quintuple prism reflection periscope structure. And without boring you all to death, basically when the light enters, it is reflected 5 times, allowing them to squeeze in this 10x optical zoom in this camera module, while also doing some very fancy and technical things to reduce issues around distortion and loss, but also still finding room for sensor shift optical stabilization. So whether you're punching into 10 times, 20 times and beyond, your photos and in particular your videos are impressively stable. I mean, just have a look at this. And with the 4 camera lenses, you're getting the full range from the 14mm 0.6 ultra wide to a 10 times and beyond. I'm also pretty impressed with the transition between the lenses as you zoom in and out. The exposure, the color consistency is pretty good throughout, but you can see here going from 2.9 to 3x and that first optical lens kicking in, and then also going from 9.9 to 10 times for the second telephoto. It's pretty wild to have such a jump in clarity at a 10 times optical zoom. But if you're counting, that is 4. The 5th kind of camera, is this spectral sensor, which is an upgraded version of what we saw introduced on last year's Find X9 Pro. And the big update with the Find X9 Ultra is a wider field of view, it captures over 5 times more dynamic range, and it uses 80% less power, which crucially allows it to be used with video for the first time. And this helps to capture a much more accurate white balance, so the colors in your photos and now your videos are even more true to life. In fact, every one of these lenses, these cameras, is new or upgraded, unlike certain rivals which maybe tweak the software or bump the megapixels on one camera. This is a full-on top-to-bottom upgrade over what was already one of the absolute best cameras out there. I mean, just to give you an idea, this is last year's X8 Ultra, already a terrific phone, fantastic camera. And if we just go to the settings and look at the camera there, you can see we're looking at 50-50, 50-50, and a front 32. Whereas on the X9 Ultra, we've gone to 200, 50, 250, the new 3.2, which is the spectral sensor, and also a 50 front camera from 32. So even just purely on resolution, that doesn't even tell you about the aperture, the sensor, the algorithm, the ISP on the Snapdragon chip. This is a massive upgrade for the camera. Although technically there is actually one downgrade. The main sensor is now a 1/1.12 inch rather than a 1-inch sensor. So it's actually a little bit smaller. We've lost the 1-inch sensor that we had in the last 2 generations of Ultras. However, OPPO say the combination of the newer sensor and the wider aperture means we're actually still getting 10% more light intake and comparable image quality to the 1-inch. So I don't think that's actually the downgrade it seems like on paper. I mean, we could literally be here all day with me showing you camera samples I've taken on this phone. I think I've taken over 1,000 photos, a couple hundred videos. I promise I won't subject you to them all. But you know as well as I do, it's not just about the specs and the hardware, it's also about the processing, the color science. And behind the scenes, we have OPPO's Lumo imaging engine, which uses the CPU, the GPU, the NPU, all in parallel, which helps with the processing when you're taking full 200 megapixel photos, or shooting in 8K 30 or 4K 120 in log. We also have the partnership with Hasselblad now in its 5th year, which inspires everything from the design of the phone to the shutter sound, the orange color, and of course the modes. We've got a brand new Hasselblad Master Mode, giving us the most natural tone and colors and shadows, and less processing, less AI. For me, this Master Mode is the best way to shoot on the X9 Ultra, even just with the default Hasselblad color or one of the 9 film simulations. We also have the Hasselblad high-res mode, where you can shoot in 50 or even the full-fat 200 megapixels, giving you the most detailed shots. I mean, look how far I can crop in on this 1X photo and it still looks good. And one of my favorites, X-Pan. It is of course just a very wide aspect ratio, which you could crop yourself, but with the right subjects and the fun little animation that goes with it, it's such a cool mode to play with. This for me is the most cinematic, the most filmic, and just the most enjoyable camera phone I've used maybe ever. I'll tell you what though, in the past it feels like OPPO's really prioritized for the photography, right? The rear camera with photography and selfies and videos kind of been an afterthought. I feel like with this, the X9 Ultra, they've properly put some effort into the entire camera system. For starters, you can shoot 4K 60 Dolby Vision with every lens, front and back. You can also seamlessly switch between all lenses while filming. We get better autofocus, better stabilization, and we have their 2nd generation log. And for me, this is the best way of shooting. You get better dynamic range, there's more detail, and whether you're using one of their LUTs, even just the Rec 709 conversion, or you're color grading it yourself afterwards, shooting in 4K log gives you, well, this. So this is regular video, shot with the rear camera, 1X, 4K 60. Let's now switch to Pro video and shoot this in log, which looks like this. Does it look much different? This is with their Rec 709 LUT baked in, but it is shooting in log, so it should give me a slightly wider color range, dynamic range. And also if you do shoot flat, then obviously you can add your own LUT or color afterwards. The third option I want to show you is portrait video. So now hopefully you can see this is all blurry and nice. It looks a little bit more cinematic. It's like the cinematic mode on iPhone or the portrait video on Galaxy phones. You can't shoot this in log. I've gone back to the regular video mode. Portrait video is also limited to 4K 30, and you can't switch between lenses once you're recording in this mode. So a couple of limitations, but particularly if you've got just one subject in the frame, it does look very nice. Of course, you can also shoot in 8K, up to 30 FPS, you've got 4K 120. It's also extremely bright, so I wonder how this is handling the sort of dynamic range, the highlights of that bright sun on my face versus the shadows. I'm looking at the back of the phone, you guys have to tell me. And then we've got the selfie video, up to 4K 60, and if I just have a little wander, just holding it at arm's distance, lots of people talking around me, a little bit of wind, lots of very bright sun up there. What do you think? My only issue with the Ultra when it comes to video is there isn't a really high quality codec option like APV, which was added to the S26 Ultra, or ProRes on iPhone. These much higher bitrate, high quality codecs. And given the ultra nature of this phone and how you can shoot really high quality video, it does feel like an omission that we don't have that kind of option. And also I found, particularly in low light video, in some scenarios with these bright lights from the shops, there could be quite a bit of flicker, which actually kind of ruined these shots. Now I have been reminded that this is not final software. It will be updated. They are aware of a couple of issues. One thing I have noticed is that a lot of the shots are overexposed just by default. And the solution to that, very simply, is lowering the EV by like 0.3, 0.5, just bringing it down a little bit, the exposure. The OPPO technical gurus here say that they're aware of that. So there's a couple of things where things may improve with time. There's always a promise of new features and software updates. And while I don't want to get bogged down in comparisons with rival brands because it depends what you want to buy, whether it's an iPhone or a Samsung or Vivo or Xiaomi, let me just show you a few examples side by side between the Find X9 Ultra and the Galaxy S26 Ultra. OPPO reminded me that the 3x optical lens on the Find X9 Ultra captures nearly 9 times more light than the 3x optical on the brand new S26 Ultra, and actually bigger than the main camera on the S26 Ultra, which is just nuts. Have a little look, see what you think of the difference between them. Oh, and if you happen to be with your mate who's chucking a Find X9 Pro in the air and you want to capture the sharpest, most detailed shot of the phone flying through the air, then make sure you turn on action mode. And it helps to give you the most in focus, most detailed shot of fast moving subjects, whether it's a phone or more likely your kids or your pets. Who's this guy?
Hey, what's going on, you guys? Canoopsy here. This is the new
what is it?
OPPO Find phone.
Yes.
I just completely got nervous.
And while all the big stuff is happening round the back, let's not forget about the selfie camera, which has also been upgraded. We're talking 56% more pixels with this new 50 megapixel front camera. Okay, we've been talking about this camera for over 10 minutes now. What about the rest of the bloody phone? Well, I can tell you the first thing you'll notice when you pick up an X9 Ultra is the size. It is a pretty big phone, 6.82-inch screen, although I have to say I love this design, particularly in this colorway. I've got the Tundra Umber version here, which apparently is inspired by the Hasselblad X2D 100C Earth Explorer edition, and I think this looks terrific with this two-tone metal and faux leather vibe. It looks like a proper camera phone. And there's also this Canyon Orange, if you want your phone to look a bit more, well, shouty. It is a fairly chunky phone though. We're talking about 236 grams, and it's a hair over 9mm thick. We do also get IP66, 68, and IP69 water and dust resistance. Oh, and it's achieved a 5-star drop resistance rating from SGS. You'll also notice we have a dedicated shutter button, or what they call their quick key. Double press to open the camera, tap again to take a photo. You can long press to do that. You can also zoom in and out with it, although personally I disable that because I find myself accidentally switching between lenses when I don't want to. You can also change the sensitivity of it, so how hard you have to press to activate it. So you've got the quick key in this Hasselblad Orange, and on the other side you've got the snap key. And this snap key allows you to customize it whatever you like, don't disturb, you can translate, you can open an app. Very iPhone-y. Although one benefit of this huge camera module is compared to, say, the S26 Ultra, if we put them face down on the table, in terms of the wobble, well, this is the Samsung, this is the OPPO. It sits perfectly flat on a table. And you can actually rest the lip of the camera module on your index finger, making it a little bit more comfortable to hold as well, just taking away a little bit of that weight. Acts almost like a bit of a pop socket. And naturally, having the fastest mobile chip you can get in a phone right now, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, every game, every app you throw at this thing, it runs flawlessly. Have a look at this though. We've got last year's X8 Ultra, the new X9 Ultra, Galaxy S26 Ultra, and the latest iPhone 17 Pro Max. And if we jump into the Geekbench test, this is quite a nice uptick, around 20% single core, about 15% multi-core. But what about if we switch over to the more graphically demanding Wildlife Extreme Stress Test? This is a 20-minute, very demanding test. And interestingly, only about a 10% uptick in terms of the best loop score there, although quite a significant drop in stability, 73.9 down to 55%. So this new X9 Ultra is throttling quite a bit more. It's not the end of the world, but just something to keep in mind that currently, at least with my model here, which is pre-release, there is a little bit of throttling to consider there. We've also got a much bigger battery, 7050, up from 6100, which is a huge jump for the battery. And that's because these Chinese brands are taking advantage of silicon carbon batteries, which the likes of Samsung, Google, Apple still aren't doing. So after 12 hours of streaming YouTube, the X8 Ultra from last year is on 33%. The new X9 Ultra is on 51%. Damn, that's a big upgrade. And the S26 Ultra, we're looking at 30%. Still very good, but 30 versus 51 after 12 hours of streaming YouTube. Just one simple test. I mean, I've been using this all day pretty intensely. I've still got 50% of my battery left, well, 51, and it's claiming I have about 15, nearly 16 hours of battery left in the balance mode. Of course, when it comes to battery, it all depends how you use it, but with a 7,050 milliamp hour battery, 100 watt wired Super VOOC, 50 watt wireless Air VOOC charging, you're not going to have any problems at all with a battery of this. The only downside is that we don't have the magnets built in, so it doesn't support Qi 2, and you can't use it with, MagSafe or Pixel, Snap accessories. That would have been nice given the slightly chunkier nature of the phone if they could squeeze the magnets in here, but of course you can buy cases to be able to attach it to those magnetic peripherals. But that is one slight downside. And rounding out the specs, we get Wi-Fi 7, we get Bluetooth 6, a 3D ultrasonic fingerprint reader, and it's protected by Gorilla Glass Victus 2. And as for the screen, well, it's everything you'd want. It's a huge 6.82-inch Quad HD, 144Hz with up to 3600 nits of HDR brightness or 1800 nits of full screen regular brightness. And we're getting a full 10-bit color depth, so your photos, your videos look great on the screen. You have an entire menu dedicated to the eye care features. Obviously, we've got the high PWM, you've got the low blue light, you've got all the TUV certifications, all the eye comfort stuff. It just means it's more comfortable for your eyes, and given how much you probably look at your phone screen, I think that's a really important feature. So this is running ColorOS 16, that's on top of Android 16, and it is one of my absolute favorite, maybe my favorite softwares you can get on an Android phone. I did not used to say that a few years ago, but ColorOS has come such a long way over the past few years. It feels faster than my S26 Ultra. It feels faster than my Pixel 10 Pro, honestly. You've got some of the best photo editing tools, whether you're AI removing people from the background. Actually, it will prompt you sometimes in particular photos for what you might want to do. You can enhance the clarity, you can unblur, you can remove reflections. And of course, it wouldn't be a new 2026 phone if we didn't have a whole bunch of OPPO AI features as well built in. But shout out to Mind Pilot. This is your own local chat model if you want to ask questions, change settings on your phone. It's got your own little sort of local chatbot. And also Mind Space. This holds all your screenshots, recordings, transactions, voice messages. It's like a one-stop shop for your brainstorming. So Mind Space and Mind Pilot definitely worth having a play with. But the whole reason you want to buy this phone is because you're getting all the flagship specs and, honestly, in my opinion, the best camera on the market right now. How much is the phone? Well, as I'm recording this, I actually don't know, but by the time you're watching it, you will. They'll announce it at the launch event. But what I do know is it'll be pretty expensive, more than your iPhone, Samsung, Pixel flagships, because we're kind of seeing this new ultra tier of phone from OPPO, Vivo, Xiaomi, like the best of the best specs. But bottom line, this is an extremely impressive phone. Will it beat the Vivo, the Xiaomi Ultras? Well, I think that's a video for another time. This one's been going on long enough. Thank you so much for watching to the end as well. It's been a bit of a chunky one, but hopefully it was helpful. Any other questions, comments, thoughts, feedback, drop a comment below. I'll see you guys next time right here on the Tech Chat.